colleagues hooking up is actually much more realistic.
Facts. The advice that Tyler's giving kind of makes sense because you never really know who you're speaking to. Oh my god, dude. No, please. Why?
Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, I'm Em.
And I'm Lloyd.
And we're two former corporate lawyers based in Hong Kong.
Today, we're back to react to more episodes of Netflix's hit show, Partner Track. If you're enjoying the series, please leave a like, consider subscribing, and since we're about halfway through now, let us know in the comments which episode so far has been your favorite.
Also, we've been working on a newsletter where, among other things, we're going to be answering questions from you guys. So if you're interested, we'll leave a link in the description down below where you can sign up.
A universal solvent. Water is a universal solvent because more substances dissolve in water than in any other liquid. Nick is my universal solvent. With him, all my worries. Z, Suncorp, Murphy, just melt away.
Okay, so someone actually commented, I think a couple weeks back, that they start every show with a science fact. I didn't actually think it was that cringe up until now. This one's pretty bad.
Tastes like body wash.
In a good way or bad?
Oh my god.
You never taste bad.
Oh,
Hope you're hungry.
this looks amazing, but the bus for the retreat leaves in an hour.
Oh, don't worry, babe. I'll get you there on time. Do you want me to walk you to the bus?
No, I'm okay. Thanks. Bye. How's your script coming?
Good. I think I'm a copy short. I could have sworn I printed enough.
Well, while you're stuck in rehearsal, Bola and I will be at the spa.
Well, have fun leaving that wide-eyed newbie around. I have enough people mooning over me. I don't need the firm to assign me some first year I have to babysit. What about you? What are you doing with April?
Drinks?
Bless. Creativity was never your strong suit, love.
Speak of the devil. Hi.
Hey, big sis. Hi. I'm so excited. I've never been on a big retreat like this before.
Hey, little bro. Hey, Tyler, what's up? Hope you're ready for a weekend of zen.
Please don't be the Suncorp purchase agreement.
Okay, we're finally getting into something real here. I've been on one retreat with my firm. So this was when I was based out of the UK and I was doing a secondment to our London office. It just so happened that they did their, I think, once every 2-year retreat to Europe that year. It looks like the situation they have here is pretty fancy. I do know that some firms like to go all out for things like this, so that's somewhat realistic. And the fact that she's laying on her bed hoping that she doesn't get the purchase agreement right then and there is also super realistic. I mean, this happens anytime. If the other side decides to send you a document, you have to review it pretty much right away, otherwise your client's gonna be wondering what's going on. And you can't really tell your client, sorry, I'm away on vacation. Fun fact also, one of the really shitty things that some lawyers will do as kind of a strategy, I wouldn't even say a strategy, but just to mess with people, is they like to send documents on Friday afternoon because they know, especially if the deal is somewhat urgent or if the clients are going to require it to be turned right away, then the lawyers on the other side will have to spend their whole weekend looking at it, which just sucks.
Yeah, that's definitely a tactic used in litigation as well, whether it's sending letters to the other side or even serving documents. But it's also a double-edged sword because then you know the other side will also do it to you.
Carterman sent back the red line purchase agreement for the Suncorp acquisition. There must be like hundreds of pages of disclosure schedules.
Right, shit. That sounds like a problem for Monday.
Are you kidding? We have a 9 a.m. with last order Monday, and we need to tell them something, and it can't be that we're the logjam.
Okay, take it easy. Let me get through my round of golf and I'll come and help you out.
Okay, so we're finally getting some content here to comment on. So what they're talking about here is a red line purchase agreement. So what a red line is basically a draft version that shows in red and blue color all the things that one side has removed or added to a document in their draft. It's customary to send these when you're making markups to the other side so that they can see at a glance right away what changes were made. The other thing that was mentioned is a disclosure schedule. So typically in purchase agreements, you'll have things called representations and warranties, which simply put is kind of just a way for the seller to say, for example, oh, you know, our company has never had a lawsuit or our company has never breached any of its contracts. But disclosures allow you to carve out specific instances where that might not be true and basically give an exception to the provision. So for example, they could say in the disclosure schedule, well, we've had no court cases except for this single one, and as long as they identify it, that's okay. And similarly, if they say we haven't breached any contracts except for these 2 contracts that we breached maybe 5 years ago that don't really have any bearing on today, that would also be fine.
Do you know which countries the U.S. has trade embargoes against right now?
Ingrid, I'm an IP lawyer.
Burma, Cuba, Venezuela,
What about the Middle East?
Syria, and Iran.
I was afraid of that.
Okay, what is happening?
I just found out the Mint have holdings in Syria and Iran. This is bad. There must not be any reception on the golf course. I'll have to go find Murphy out there.
Do you have any idea how difficult it is to hit a blind dogleg layup with a fairway wood?
Yes, actually, just close your stance a bit. Should help with the shape.
Well, if you know that, then why are you interrupting me while I'm doing it?
I'm sorry, Marty. I thought Murphy would have told you. We got the men's disclosure schedules back. There's a problem. I need him back at the hotel.
Well, that's convenient since he's down by 4 strokes.
I did say I'd come and help her if there was an emergency.
Fine, go.
Okay, I feel like it's super unrealistic to have a scene where the associates basically, or the senior associates basically need to convince the partner that they need to work. I mean, especially since this is such a massive deal, $2.9 billion, the partner would naturally be very concerned. And if emails came in, usually in like our experience, I think, the partner would immediately start chasing for you to look at the emails and not be like, oh, I'm out here playing golf and I didn't see anything.
Yeah. If they did send back the purchase agreement, the partner would be the one to forward it to the associates to say, hey, can someone have a look at this right away? You know, if one of the associates didn't respond within the first 5 to 10 minutes to do so themselves. So, not a good showing for discount Harvey Specter. Real Harvey Specter would definitely have been wanting to work.
Thumbs down.
What am I looking at?
These are the locations of the Min's holdings in Syria and Iran. Now, this is a map of all the refugee camps in those 2 countries. Notice anything?
They completely overlap.
Exactly. The Mins have been investing in Syrian and Iranian refugee camps. What I can't figure out is why a billionaire like Franklin Min would be risking his entire fortune investing in refugee camps a world away.
Z.
What?
It's not Franklin, it's Z. His younger son. He's stubborn about being a good person. This has his handiwork all over it.
Right, okay. So we know what the holdings are, we know what they do. That doesn't solve our fundamental problem.
Right. They still violate Suncorp's warranty against doing business in U.S. environment countries.
Yeah, this is actually a really big one. So every deal that I've done that has a US component, we always get the US lawyers involved, and there's always usually a warranty that has something to do with money laundering, counter-terrorist financing kind of thing, and also one on US sanctioned entities. So if you are doing business with a US sanctioned entity, usually it's a deal breaker.
Kill the deal. Save the refugees. Or save the deal and throw the refugees to the wolves.
Not much of a choice, is it?
Okay, so I'm not entirely sure about this one if I'm being completely honest, but I'm not sure that this is how it would work. That if they just divest all of their investments in the refugee camps, that all of a sudden they would be okay. I think a lot of times the concern is that if there's historical dealings with sanctioned entities, that's usually an issue. But I feel like in the show, they're kind of portraying it as, again, you know, do the right thing and stay invested in the refugee camps, or do the wrong thing and the morally wrong thing, but the thing that's right for the deal. In reality, I just don't know that it would work like that.
What's up, Bola? I'm getting everything you need to make PV work for you, and it's like, you don't care.
Real talk, this spa stuff is awesome, but I don't know if I want to be a PV in 10 years or 5 years. My girl, she wants to go back to Georgia. You know, buy a house, live near her folks. Once I pay off my debt, I think that's where we're headed. Look, what y'all do is dope, but it ain't me.
Do not tell anyone what you just told me.
That's relatable.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is not, it's not an uncommon sentiment at all, because of course, being a lawyer is a great career and it opens a lot of doors, but not everyone, or I think a lot of people don't necessarily envision that they'll be in it forever. Of course, sometimes some people do end up being in it forever, but a lot of people that we have interacted with see themselves leaving the industry. But it's just, of course, the challenge of actually making that move, like once you've spent a decent amount of time in it. And like Tyler says here, that's not generally something you want to share, especially when you're really early on in your career, except for very exceptional circumstances. Like, I think you can talk about that.
Yeah, like, I think sometimes there's this impression that, you know, partners don't want to hear that you don't want to do the job forever. In truth, I think some people don't mind to hear that, and some people will. The advice that Tyler's giving kind of makes sense because you never really know who you're speaking to, and there always is that risk that if you tell people from a very early stage that you don't want to do the career forever, that they'll stop investing in you or stop getting you on interesting deals. In my personal case, I told my boss very early on that I wasn't planning on being a lawyer for probably the rest of my life, and he was totally okay with that, and actually still gave me lots of really cool opportunities to do really interesting work, so I was very thankful, but not everyone is necessarily in that position.
I wish we could just break up the company and leave Z the humanitarian stuff. You know, give him something to do since he'll be siloed by that non-compete.
Can Min indemnify Suncorp if the government actually comes after them?
Well, we'd still have the PR nightmare of doing business in Syria.
Min Enterprises is incorporated in Delaware, right? Isn't there a law,
Wait, are you thinking of the Delaware Division
law?
Okay, so we spin the holdings in Syria and Iran into a new corporation.
501c3 means they're exempt from sanctions.
A new nonprofit.
Yeah.
We'll call it...
The Min Foundation. We'll finally close this deal.
Oh my god, dude. No, please. Why?
I feel like the setting and the lead up was also very lame.
Oh my God. Hey, would you make it go? Turn it back on.
I think we're out of juice.
What?
My ride was over. I was putting the boat back on shore.
Here, give me your phone.
I don't have my phone. I'm on a digital detox.
I'm sorry, what? We're lawyers. We don't do that.
I'm a paralegal, so...
That's super accurate.
Super accurate. Paralegals are not exempt, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't... Definitely none of the paralegals I knew didn't check their phone either. Yeah.
How do you know so much about the outdoors?
Growing up, spent summers in Maine. Kingsley Pines, it's a summer camp.
What was it like?
It's amazing. And it's the best place in the world. If I could, I'd probably work there year-round, like run things.
So why are you a paralegal?
Why are you a lawyer?
I asked you first.
I guess running a summer camp isn't really in my dad's plan for me. Okay, your turn. Why are you a lawyer?
It's complicated.
Come on. You're like one of those people that can be whatever they want. You know that's true. I've been watching you. You loved riding that skid. You loved chasing Jerry around this lake, and you hate being a lawyer.
I don't...
You hate being a lawyer. So I don't get it. Why are you wasting your time at Parsons Valentine when you could be off doing something you love? Don't you owe it to yourself to go after something you actually want?
Okay, of course the kids. I was gonna say, trust the young Zoomers to bring some perspective. I mean, this is kind of a thing though, right? You get this a lot in firms where you kind of talk to people and they get really excited talking about this experience they had in their life where, you know, they did something really interesting, really cool. The first internship I ever did, I talked to the senior associate and he was telling me the story about how he worked in a dive shop in the Philippines for about 6 months, I think, prior to, you know, him switching jobs. And he said that he really wanted to sort of just stay and not ever come back because, you know, he loved diving, that was his big passion. And I remember just thinking it was such a profound thing hearing this guy talk about his life experience. And I asked him, you know, why did you come back? And he's like, yeah, you know, family things, expectations, and societal expectations and things. And I remember it kind of stuck with me as just being like, you know, people have things they really want to do. People have things they really care about. But sometimes life does get in the way and you do need to pay the bills. So just goes to show there are a lot of people in the profession that maybe don't necessarily want to be there, but are there for reasons, you know, beyond their control.
I mean, I think when Rachel said it's complicated, I found that so relatable. It wasn't just us who felt that way, it was a lot of people we worked with. It's not, I mean, some people did hate it, some people didn't hate it, but they just had very mixed feelings towards it. So I found this whole interaction, minus the kissing, between Justin and Rachel just to be very relatable and something that I saw a lot.
Yeah, and I think we both had conversations with people that kind of went the same way, you know, where you talk to people about this kind of stuff about, you know, why are you in the job and why are you still doing it? So it really super realistic and definitely a big part of, you know, what people talk about, I guess, as lawyers.
And next up, let's welcome to the stage the comedic stylings of our very own Dan Fallon.
What's up, Parsons Valentine? Parsons, Valentine, and Hunt. Or as it was once known in the letterhead typo debacle, Parsons, Valentine, and... Come on. I'm not gonna say it. We all know there's words you just can't say, and is one of them. Can't say. So listen, jokes aside, I'd like to take this moment to officially say thank you to my colleague, my boy, Tyler Robinson, for teaching me about white fragility. So get ready for a masterclass in white fragility. No, white fragility is when you act like a whiny little bitch and get all up in your feelings if someone calls you a racist. For example, let's say you tell a black coworker, "You're so well spoken." If someone were to tell you that that's actually racist and a microaggression, and you were to say, "But I can't be racist. Some of my best credit cards are black." That would be an example of, let's hear you say it. Remember when we all used to call disclosures opening the kimono? Yeah, well, if someone were to tell you that now that is both racist and sexist, and you were to say something like, "But my college girlfriend was Japanese," that would be another prime example of, louder for the folks in the back, white fragility.
Okay, obviously, I can't say across the board, but definitely in my experience, the content of Dan's stand-up would not be acceptable for a talent show, like a workplace talent show.
There is some crazy shit that happens at law firms, but this is probably a bit out there. You know, I would say for a firm of this size, being a firm-wide activity, that this probably would not fly.
Colleagues hooking up is actually much more realistic.
Facts. Yes, facts.
Tyler, where are you going?
Ingrid, leave me alone.
Dan's an asshole. Don't let him get to you.
Jesus Christ, Ingrid. Your head is so far up your ass about making partner, you don't even understand what just happened.
Okay, that's not fair.
Really? So you aren't sweeping this under the rug to make yourself feel better about working with that piece of shit?
Okay, that is a thing though. I've heard stories and I've seen examples of people that I know who have turned a blind eye to things that are maybe kind of sus or, you know, frankly pretty unacceptable, really just because it's come from, you know, in their case, like a situation with someone who's senior to them or, you know, someone who has some kind of say over their career. It is a thing that occasionally happens. I think people do get blinded by, you know, the idea of career progression and the impact that it can have, you know, if you report someone who is senior to you or if you know, kick up a fuss even. I think the idea being, you know, if you complain about something, you know, you're causing trouble for the partners or for HR and that's not good, you know?
Yeah, definitely hesitation towards kicking up a fuss about anything due to possible negative repercussions is a thing, but that's by no means unique to law firms. I think that just goes for any workplace, really.
Yeah, very true.
Something else come up with the disclosure schedules?
This isn't about Suncorp. I want to know what you're going to do about Dan Fallon.
You mean that routine? The kid told a few jokes.
Dan's not a kid, Marty. What he said is borderline actionable. He needs to be held accountable for what he did out there.
You know what? You're right. I'll get into it first thing on Monday. Is there anything else?
No.
Good night.
Again, there's actually more in this episode for us to comment on than we expected.
Yeah, the deal actually was represented in a way that looks pretty accurate. So, I mean, save for the things that we mentioned, but altogether, not too bad.
I mean, I do wish that we saw Rachel do more actual work since she is a litigation lawyer and then I could make more legal commentary. But I think that being said, it's been quite nice seeing her character development and her sort of struggle with her career and whether or not that's something she wants to stay in because that's highly relatable for us.
Yeah, very much. I really do think from this episode, my favorite scene was on the boat with the paralegal. Until they started kissing, because then I was like, okay, well, you've lost me here. This probably doesn't really happen.
That's not true.
That's true. Okay, it does. That's true. It does happen. Yeah, it does happen. But that's a story for another day. Catch you guys next week.
I was just thinking, I mean, like, we had so many workplace. It was just like,
yeah.